Einen schönen guten Morgen. Herzlich willkommen, liebe Gäste in der Salzburg Arena zu den Neurosox Amadeus Horse Indoors. Der FEI World Cup Dressage beginnt. Die Etappe hier von Salzburg bei den Neurosox Amadeus Horse Indoors und natürlicherweise die Saison der Dressurreiter im Weltcup ebenfalls durch die Pandemie geprägt, ist Salzburg erst die zweite Etappe auf dem Weg zum Finale, das voraussichtlich in Göteborg im März bzw. April diesen Jahres stattfinden wird. Und am heutigen Samstag ist dies die erste Weltcup-Prüfung an diesem Wochenende, präsentiert von der Neurosox GmbH, der FEI World Cup Dressage im Grand Prix de Dressage. Wilhelmsburg bzw. Aarhus war die erste Etappe, nun folgt Salzburg. In einigen Wochen wird es höchstwahrscheinlich in den Niederlanden noch Bosch sein und dann, wie gesagt, das Finale von Göteborg. Es sind insgesamt in dieser Prüfung 14 Paare, die bewertet.
Of course, the Western European League calendar has been blighted with essential corona cancellations, but Salzburg has really battled to run this event at all. Had to be delayed from its December start date that was planned, but Dr. Ernst Griebnitz, the honorary president, the event president, Mr. Josef Gollner, and the event director, Mr. Thomas Kreidel, have really fought strongly to Salzburg here in 2021. The corona precautions have all been followed to the letter of the law. Masks, distancing, we all had to have negative tests before arrival yesterday. And it's wonderful to be here, I must say. The horse industry, as ever, stands firm in the face of this incredible world situation that everybody's fighting. But we focus very on the dressage this morning, because, as I say, the battle very much on for Gothenburg qualification. Isabell Werth will start last of this Grand Prix today. 2 days of dressage we bring you, the Grand Prix today, and this is the start list. It's a very interesting field, and there are some within that list that are right on the cusp of the top 9 places in the Western European League that will automatically qualify for Gothenburg. Dorothea Schneider, she's extraordinary. And Helen Langehanenberg is really one of the great ones for Germany. The problem is only 3 from each nation can actually qualify, and that lady last of your list, Isabell Werth, is automatically through to Gothenburg as the defending champion. So only 2 places remaining for the Germans. That's why the battle for Germany, particularly here in Salzburg, is absolutely crucial.
For iOS and Android, just go to the App Store, download the app, select this event, which is of course the Amadeus Horse Indoors of Salzburg and the class number 3. And you can...
We're poised here in Salzburg, tucked up right on the Austro-German border, due west of the Great Lakes of the upper Austrian region and the lakes in Salzburg. And we're within touching distance of some of the great ski resorts that this region of Austria is famed for. The gut-wrenching Hahnenkamm is this afternoon's feature in the world of downhill ski racing. And Kittel is only 85 kilometres actually southwest of Salzburg, and the great Saalbach Hinterglemm as well. FIS Alpine World Ski Champs in 2025. So this area is booming in sports, and to welcome everybody from the equestrian fraternity to this morning's Grand Prix Dressage. 15 starters we will welcome, and they come from far and wide. Not with the very furthest of our starters, because Simone Pearce will get us underway for Australia. Delighted to welcome our 5 judges, and I can welcome them. We have 2 for the home nation. Thomas Lang is the president from Austria. He sits at B, accompanied by Austria's Claudia Thaler, sitting opposite him at E. From the Czech Republic, Czechia as it's now known, Gabriela Valerianova. We have Katharina Wüst, the very seasoned German judge, sitting up at C with her eagle eye down the centre line, and Raphael Sala from France sitting at M. Dastana will get us underway. They're competing in the Grand Prix over the 2009 Grand Prix test. It was revised in 2014 and updated this year. World rank number 134, Simone Pearce, 29 years of age. 4 consecutive years, 2016 through to 2019 at the World Young Horse Championships in Ermelo in the Netherlands. Her best finish was 4th in 2017 with Casablanca, and that was riding for the great Andreas Helgestrand, no less. And that year, she was the first Australian to qualify for both the World 5 and 6-year-old finals on Helgestrand horses. Austria's been a very happy hunting ground for Simona. She recorded her maiden Grand Prix victory at the Max Teuer's beautiful Achleiten Castle. That was in June 2019 with Scolari, her other horse, before sadly then losing the horse to the Japanese team in their preparation for Tokyo 2020. Grand Prix personal best is 76.261. And that was her last outing in Brno in the Czech, where she won. Had a double of wins in Brno, Grand Prix Special and the Grand Prix. Of course, the one obvious benefit of Corona for the horses is no spectators. Leads to a much calmer atmosphere than they'll certainly get when they go to Gothenburg in the years to come, or wherever the World Cup finals are hosted. This year it is in Gothenburg. It was there in 2019. We sadly lost Las Vegas last year for obvious reasons. Expressive walk, very long ground covering stride, and superb 4-time beat. That of course should be a given in World Dressage, but when it's a big occasion, the horses can just tighten across their backs and a little jog or break out of the 4-time beat is possible. But Estano going beautifully. New ride for Simona from last year, designed to be her ticket to Tokyo. Provided her with her second career Grand Prix after that Achleiten win. That was in Brno, as we mentioned. And did the double header there with the Grand Prix Special. Piaffe, for me, doesn't have quite enough energy off the ground and was just a little bit travelling off the centre point. He was produced by Swedish rider Michael Hagman Hassink up to Grand Prix level. Competed with her during 2019. Hanoverian stallion, bred by Heinrich Gieselmann, owned by Gestüt Spreyer since he was a youngster. Now, tempo changes. Smooth execution from the Australian. Running score, bottom of your screen, 74.292 currently. Hoping for an explosive extended canter. So it was fairly conservative. Simona's been based in Europe for just over 10 years. He's had an incredible career as a sales horse rider for stable Perle in Holland initially, then Andreas Helgestrand's powerful base in Denmark. That was 2017, 2018. Before then moving to Germany, as so many do.
Der Hannoveraner Destano mit Simone Pearce aus Australien, from Australia. Das ist also das erste Paar im FEI World Cup Dressage, präsentiert von Neurosocks. Die ersten Ergebnisse trudeln soeben ein. Für das erste der insgesamt 14 Paare. Und hier kommt das Endergebnis für Destano und Simone Pearce. Es sind bei E 71,957, bei H 73,043, bei C sind es 70,978, M 71,087 und B 73,152. 72,043% am Ende. The result is at E 71.957, at H 73.043, at C 70.978, M 71.087, B 73.152. It is a total percentage of 72.043%. Das zweite Paar im Weltcup von Salzburg, präsentiert von Neurosocks. Den niederländischen Brand trägt der 14-jährige Charlie, gezogen über Florentio und Osmium. Und im Sattel sitzt Simon Messiaren, Belgien, Belgium.
And after just 2 lessons declared to mum and dad, he wants to become a jumping world champion. The horseback kicked well and truly in while he was a schoolboy. And his first competition was at 12. He's gone very, very well. 2 senior Belgian caps, 2013's European champs in hurling, 31st individually, and 7th with the Belgian team with Verdun. And recently in Rotterdam, 2019, those superb Europeans on the Dutch western flank. That was 50th individually with this horse, Charlie. He runs with his wife, the MVR Dressage Centre in Isegem in Belgium. And he was Belgian national champion 2013. That was a Grand Prix victory with Vradin, his initial horse that took him to Herning's Europeans. His Rotterdam European Championship ride gets underway. 14 years of age, this Dutch-bred gelding. '19 was something of a breakthrough year for this pair. They were 3rd in a big Grand Prix special in Lier in Belgium. Then 9th in the Kruth in Sertogenbosch at the Dutch Masters. That was a very strong class. And you think that afternoon, Isabell Werth, who will be our last starter this morning, was a rare 2nd. And Edward Gaal was 4th that day. And then Simone was part of the Belgian team at the Nations Cup in Compiègne, before the European champs in Rotterdam. His last outing was last year. That was at home in Belgium, Sint-Truiden, for 2nd in the Kruth. His Grand Prix personal best, 71.609. That was the Dutch Masters 2 years ago. just a little bit unsettled, sadly, in his walk, and as you can see, well off the Australian pace early doors here. So he's got to play catch-up, Simone Pearce. What's impressive about this man is he's only competed 2 horses since he started competing, Fradin and Charlie. Just the 2 boys, which is impressive. Fradin from 2011 until his retirement in Arnhem, that was in July 2015. Charlie, who we're enjoying today, started in Mechelen, December 2016 and onwards. His eyes are firmly set on Tokyo 2020, the Olympics. Much awaited. Again, didn't ask for much in that extended canter. Very conservative, and then loss of rhythm. And a break just in advance of K, sadly. So rounds the corner onto the centre line, and Charlie into his canter pirouette. Nicely executed. Perhaps, if you're being uber critical, the horse's nose just coming a little bit behind the vertical. As he came out of the pirouette, just coming behind the hand is a technical term. But he is catching up. He's got some real work to do in the last 5th of this test. If he's got any chance, I don't think so, of catching Simone Pearce. I think Charlie is fairly hot under the collar, and Simone Pearce is doing a good cover-up job here. Just being conservative, which he's got to be if the horse is reaching fever pitch under the saddle. Down the centre line. Piaf is lacking a little bit of energy. It's a little bit flat-footed. You'll see with the biggest of the world guns later, they're going to be suspended in the air. But yes, look, it's a very good test from Simone Pearce. He's fought home, and I think he's had a hot Charlie on his hands this morning. The Belgian completing our second out of this.
Die Vorstellung von Charlie und von Belgier Simone Pearce.
Neurosox Amadeus Horse Show by Neurosox.
Das zweite Paar im Grand Prix, präsentiert von Neurosox. Auch hier bekommen wir großartigerweise sehr schnell die Resultate für unsere Freunde aus Belgien. Das zweite der 14 Paare. Und damit sind es bei E 67,5%, bei H 69,783, C verbucht 69,457, M 69,239 und B 67,6.
So scores in for Simone Pearce.
Es ist ein neuer zweiter Rang, 68,718%.
think a fair
The result
reflection
at position E is 67.5, at H 69.783, C 69.457, M 69.239, B 67.609. It is the second place currently, 68.718%. Die nächste Dame, die herangekommen ist, bestreitet den dritten Weltcup ihrer Karriere. 16-jährig. Hier ist Atomic von Florencio und Farrington unter der Niederösterreicherin Franziska Friese, Austria.
The one combination for Austria this morning in this Neurosocks FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix, and Franziska Friese comes forward, 27 years of age, recently celebrated her daughter as the birth of her daughter Magdalena, who was born March 2020. I'm sure time's whistled by for this multi-talented equestrian. She started as an event rider, and a very good one as well, before changing to the more refined art of dressage. She's very competitively placed, Franziska, on the Western European League. She sits in 13th position with 17 points. And of course, with the 9 to qualify, she's got a very good chance tomorrow. And Sertogenbosch, two very good, strong finishes, could put her on the plane to the Scandinavian in Gothenburg. Atomic is her ride. This was her partner of the Under-25 European Championships at home in Lamprechtshausen, local to Salzburg, just 20 minutes due north of our Salt Fortress base, as the name directly translates. History here of salt mining, occasional gold mining as well. It's an incredible city, 27 churches, and of course the 18th century birthplace of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, hence donating his middle name to our horse show. Baroque architecture it's famed for, and well, it's a bit of a grisly day out there, but if any of us can brave the weather, a nice walk around the historic centre over lunch. Franziska Friese, though, flying the home flag on her own down into a not bad halt, a little bit unsquare, but solid enough, and a good rein back. Not only in Lamprechtshausen's under-25s, but also an ex-Lou in the Netherlands. That was in 2018. Had a very good finish there. She was 12th in the Grand Prix freestyle, behind Charlotte Fry, who won the gold there. Exciting rider for Great Britain with Dark Legend. Their Grand Prix personal best is just hovering under 70% at 69.174. She's yet to break into the 70s, so keep your eye firmly on her running total to see whether she could set a PB at home in Salzburg. That would be quite something to celebrate. Down into a very nice walk. It's their 5th season as a partnership. And interestingly enough, it's actually half-brother to the horse we just saw for Belgium, because they're both sired by Florencio II. Atomic's dam sire is Farrington. Produced internationally for 2 seasons by Luxembourg Sascha Schultz between 2015 and 2016, before getting underway with Franziska, April 2017. They're still pursuing their first international victory as a partnership, but this precise Messezentrum in Salzburg has proved a very happy hunting ground for the pair. They went very close to achieving their maiden victory with a pair of seconds here in 2018. That was in the under-25 Kurt and 16 to 25-year-old Grand Prix. Very consistent work, though, certainly from Atomic. just possibly lacking a little bit of expression. Ideally, like a little bit more reach forward as they change the lead. And then an awkward stumble at M. That would have been a bit of a heart-stopping moment for Franziska. She's just got to regroup as quickly as possible, not let it fluster her for the end of the test. Now the running total has had a hammering, sadly, with that awkward moment. So if you're just joining us at home, welcome to Salzburg. Delighted to have you with us for the 15th annual running of this Neurosox Amadeus Indoor Horse Show. Early doors in this FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix presented by our sponsors here in Salzburg. There you see them, Neurosox. The early lead is with Australia's Simone Pearce. She was impressive first out, 72.043 with Destana. Some really big guns to come. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of chopping and changing of that lead as we go forward this morning. Nice, powerful pirouette from the Austrian combination. That was beautiful. She's just sadly dropped off the running total from where it was at the start of the test, down in the low 60s now. That awkward moment out of the corner at M was a really frustrating glitch of the test, but I've enjoyed watching it. It's been very positive for Franziska Friese. With Atomic coming towards the end of their test. Still only 27 years of age, so she's got a lot of mileage left on the world dressage scene. And well done, a little rueful smile to Thomas Lang.
Atomic und Franziska Friese, well. Österreich, Austria.
Franziska Friese competing with Atomic, third out of this FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix.
Und wir warten natürlich gemeinsam auf das Ergebnis für die beiden. Simone Pearce 72.043, Simon Messiaren 68.718. Das ist der aktuelle Stand für Atomic und Franziska Friese bei E 62,174, bei H 64,348. C 64,348 ebenso, bei M sind es 63,043 und B 65,217. Es ist derzeit für die beiden der dritte Rang mit 63,826%. At E 62.1 62.174, at H 64.348, at C 64.348 as well. M is 63.043, B 65.217, and it's his third place, 63.826%.
Okay, here we go. Simone Pearce out in the lead, ladies and gentlemen.
Und wir freuen uns natürlich, dass das Ganze durch die Presse begleitet wird. Allerdings haben wir einen Kollegen, der gerade im Infield steht, in der Nähe des Eintritts. Wenn Sie bitte einmal wieder auf Ihren Stammplatz zurückkehren bzw. rausgehen. Dankeschön. Im Spectator Judging, also in der Wertung über die App, sahen Sie Atomic und Franziska Friese auf 63,826%. Nun schauen wir auf Whispering Romance, Hannoveraner des Weltmeier- und Bergkristall unter Francesco Zaza, Italien, Italy.
Francesco Zaza will get underway. Number 4 to start this morning, 36 years of age, another former event rider. Great to see the versatility of eventers, as if we needed any reminder. Sir Mark Todd, one of only 5 toddy to ride at Olympics in both eventing and show jumping. And Peter Fredriksson. Peter not here this week, I don't think, for the show jumpers. But Peter, Rio Olympic silver, and having been an event rider at the Olympic Games with Hilly Tripp was his ride in Barcelona back in '92. So the versatility of the eventing fraternity, it's a jack of all trade sport by nature, is strongly in focus with Francesco Zaza. And he rode also for the Italian senior team. My first European champs I commentated on live, actually, Protoni del Vivado in 2007. He was 33rd individually there. That was with Jolly Roger III. Francesco started his equestrian career in 2002 at home in Rome. Continued his eventing until his last outing in 2010, and then he had a 6-year absence from international equestrianism. Then he returned to dressage, March 2017. I don't know Francesco, and as an event rider myself formerly, I'd have hoped to, but I Facebooked him. There was no reply, but I'll leave that out there. So I can't enlighten you as to the reason for his gap and then return to dressage. I did try though, and he's ranked number 174 in the world with Whispering Romance. She's 18 years of age, going beautifully, 69.571, knocking on the Aussie door actually. Simone Pearce, our leader. He produced this horse from scratch. He's, again, interesting story here, 18 years of age. She only started competing herself at 14, so a late starter. But she's famously side Weltmeier. Dam side here, Berg Crystal. And for bloodline aficionados, they'll be well aware, Weltmeier World Cup, the first Verman descent, the famous Verman, the W line. Legendary name in Pferden dressage breeding. He passed away, this horse's father, in 2011. Was bred by Hermann Meyer, who gave his surname to his horse's name. He was champion of his licensing in Pferden. He's known himself for a big elastic trot and canter with a very active hock, so look out for that. But was a little weak in the walk. As we watch on, and perhaps you can see the Weltmeier effect, because not the strongest walk from the Italian pair. Other famous Weltmeier offspring include Warum Nicht FRH, Isabell Werth's Powerful Chestnut, who took her to 4 World Cup finals, including the win in Las Vegas 2007 and the World Games in Kentucky team bronze in 2010. So a super pedigree. The lovely loose piaffe and into a bowling passage. This horse is owned by Raimondo Bozzetti. Competed here last year. Was 10th in this class. Just hovering below the 70% mark at the moment. His personal best came in Amsterdam. A lovely jumping Amsterdam horse show that was late last January. 70.630% of this pair, well capable. Getting within touching distance of Simone Pearce. got after that extended trot a little bit more than the others, which is good to see. Yeah, superb from Francesco Zaza. I love his beautiful body line, so plumb vertical, so in no way balancing the horse, just sits beautifully central, and that with the tempi change is absolutely crucial to maintain the balance. And into a good pirouette as well, lovely fluency. So the 18-year-old mare, Whispering Romances, still performing very nicely here. It's going to be very close between Simone Pearce, who's currently second on 68.717, and this Italian very good performance. Now, this is expressive stuff, and I'd like to see the result sheets afterwards, not something we can access as commentators usually. But he's dropped off from his high 60s into the, well, now getting a bit higher again, but just like to see their rationale for a few tougher marks against the Italian, because to my rather more amateur, less precise eye, it's looked very solid. But that is, of course, the gulf of difference. Such precise, very much criteria marks they're giving. I can give you the directive ideas they have as we go through the morning, but that just gives you an indication of what the judges are looking for specifically. But Francesco Zaza is delighted.
Whispering Romance unter dem Italiener Francesco Zaza.
Well pleased here in Salzburg. Good test to watch. And again, the former eventer showing his very good change into dressage.
Und für die beiden bei E 64,239%, bei H sind es 67,5, C 67,717, M 67,5, B 67,717, neuer dritter Rang 66,935%, at E 64.239, H 67.5, C 67.717, M 67.5, at B 67.717, a new third place with a medium score
just down
of 66,935%. Und in der App Spectator Judging hatten wir über 30 Menschen, die mitgemacht haben, dort derzeit 66,395.
Barbançon comes forward for France, 28 years of age.
Sandro Hitt und Donnerhall im Papier des 15-jährigen Sir Donnerhall 2 OLD unter der Olympiateilnehmerin Morgan Barbançon, Frankreich, France.
Had two sets of qualifying points already, both from Budapest, August, September 2020, with a win at Budapest FOT. Morgan hails from the Great Geneva. Very sad to lose the great CHI Geneva Concours Hippique International at the end of last year, but we'll be very much looking forward to that one, hopefully at the end of this season. The beautiful Lac Le Mans, Geneva's lake, where Morgan hails from. So her start, her riding career at 3 years of age. Her dressage started at 10. Has got good form here in Salzburg, which could be an indicator. She likes this venue, and crucially, Sir Donnerhall the second loves it as well, clearly. Was fifth in the Kür here last year. Having been third in this very class just over 1 year ago. She's an impressive lady, fluent in 6 languages. Take that. French, English, Spanish, Catalan, Dutch and German. And trains with Dorothea Schneider, who will be coming later. And already, let's put the cat among the pigeons. Very good. Flat 72%. London Olympian, 23rd individually in Greenwich Park. That was with Ankie van Grunsven's former right, painted black. Retired in August 2015. To be replaced by this lovely Sir Donald II. Just started competing before, painted black, retired in November 2014. He's 15 years of age, Oldenburg stallion, side by Sandro Hitz. Like Hayline's Danciera, another Paul Schockemöller sire mare we'll see a little bit later for Denmark. Square Hawk was immaculate, and this is beautiful from Morgan Barbançon. Sandro Hit goes back to Sandro's song, back to the full-blood Sacramento song. He was a modestly successful Irish racehorse, had only 4 wins out of 23 starts, but whose father was the legendary Sicombre. He won both the French Derby and the Grand Prix of Paris, so from racing blood as well, which kind of explains his elegant, refined body type. Athlete, and they've got to be. It's very easy with dressage to forget the muscular demands of this sport. They're not galloping, they're not jumping, but the lateral work is of course counter to the horse's normal forward-backwards movement, the way his muscles are worked. That's what makes it so brutally hard on the horse's bicep, tricep, gluteal equivalents. But now the French challenge is really starting to build here. 71.933. Simone Pearce at this point, that is the relative comparison where the Australian was at the same point in the test, although she dropped back to 72.043%, which is the current target. This pair love coming to Salzburg, their 3rd annual pilgrimage to the Messezentrum. Been at 2 World Cup finals, 14th in Gothenburg 2019 and at home in Paris, 10th in 2018. This was Morgan's ride in the Rotterdam Europeans 2019. So 27th individually. They had a brilliant year last year. 6 competitive starts in Doha and 2 starts in Budapest, 2 wins and 4 second placings. Very, very good. This horse was produced by the Danish rider Thomas Sigten Bjerregaard. Thomas took him to the World Young Horse Champs in Vechten. That was 3rd and 6th. In the 6-year-old finals in 2012 as well. In Verden in Germany before the sale to Morgan. This is super work here. These canter half passes are far from elementary, and the French rider has got the measure of them beautifully. Now their Grand Prix personal best is 72.457. That was their win in Budapest, fought just in August of last year. He hadn't quite kicked in when I watched the Australian test, but I must say, as I'm sort of coming to my senses this morning, for me this test is preferable. Going to be fascinating to see how our 5 judges compare the Australian and the French riders. This has got the edge for me. What I love about it is this suspension above the ground. It is hovering, but in beautiful balance. It's why it can hover, of course. This is a powerful extension that Morgan Barbançon builds up into. Good time to remind you of the top of our leaderboard, because it's going to certainly chop and change in a moment. Simone Pearce for Australia heads us in Salzburg, 72.043%. Simone Missayan is second, 68.717%. They are our 2 front runners. But a lovely swinging, bowling passage down towards the final halt here. For the world number 41. It's been a masterclass. I've loved watching it. And Sodonhall the second completing.
Sir Donnerhall 2 OLD und Morgan Barbançon.
It was beautiful. And I must say, in advance of the World Cup Finals in Gothenburg.
Noch einmal zur Erinnerung, 72.043 derzeit führen die Australierin Simone Pearce mit der Stano, 2 Simone Missiaren aus Belgien, 3 Francesco Zaza. Auf dem Weg das Ergebnis für Morgan Barbançon und Sir Donnerhall 2 OLD aus Frankreich bei E 74,13, bei H 71,63, C 71,413, bei M 71,848 und B 70,978%. Es ist ein neuer, hauchdünner zweiter Rang mit glatten 72%. The result at E 74.13, at H 71.63, at C 71.413, M 70.848, B 70.978. It is at the moment the second place with 70 flats. Und hier kommt dann das 6. Paar im Weltcup von Salzburg, präsentiert von Neurosox in diesem Grand Prix de Dressage. Ein Lusitano, 12-jähriges Espurim unter dem Sattel von Anna Merveldt, Irland, Ireland.
Two more to come before the break, everybody. And 2 extraordinary competitors, because Anna Merveldt comes forward for Ireland now. Incredible preparing my commentary on Anna. She's 58 years of age, caught my eye straight off the bat, but what a superb lady. She made her first international debut. It's a tautology, forgive me, coffee hasn't kicked in, just debut will do. First by the nature of its name. 1988 it was. Her first championship was the very first World Equestrian Games in Stockholm in 1990. And at 4 World Equestrian Games in total. Stockholm, Jerez, Aachen in 2006, and lastly Caen with her quartet of horses, Goldfinger, Fosbury, Lafitte and Vancouver. A double Olympian, Anna Merveldt. Barcelona 92, we mentioned that games earlier. Peter Fredriksson's eventing ride with Hilly Tripp. 11th individually in Barcelona, that was with Rapallo. And 2 decades later, quite extraordinary, in London, 35th there with Coriolano. I keep going though because it goes on. 8 European Championships. That was starting in Slovenia, Lipetska in 93 for individually 9th position with Flash Dancer. And the last Europeans for Anna Merveldt so far. And who knows with this extraordinary lady what might be waiting in the wings. That was in Rotterdam 2019 with this horse Esperem. He's a beautiful Lusitano, 12 years of age, sired by Pagao, out of Lakita. He was by Quiaz. Their third season only as a pair, which made that start in Rotterdam all the more impressive. He was produced in Portugal, as you would well expect, by Francisco Pimentel Silva. It's a 4-star intermediate, Prix Saint-Georges level. Boy, he's powerfully built. Fine quarter to sink the Titanic. It's her second visit to Salzburg. Here last year, and in this class they were in 6th place. 68% was their tally just over 1 year ago. His walk would be a little bit quick. Of course, it's rather hurried in rhythm, rather a slower, more extended frame on the horse. Our judges I'm referring to, of course. They had two very good last outings in Amargo in Italy. They were second in the Grand Prix Special and second in the Grand Prix as well. And in that Grand Prix they set their personal best at 70.761%. But the fascinating point I come to is that Anna is lying in 7th position on the Western European League standings. So therefore, very much a life contender to qualify for her first World Cup final. We'd mentioned all of those championship outings, but yet to compete at the World Cup final. So that is very much beckoning in early April. Anna, who does live in Italy, and indeed is the Italian dressage team youth trainer. So keeps the young Italians on the right tracks. Now, just interesting to note that Esperem is 12 years of age. There's only one horse in the whole field this morning younger than him, and that is Highline Stanciera of Karina, Kasso, Kruth. So it's one of the youngest two horses in the field, which is something to bear in mind. They can only start competing internationally at Grand Prix at 8. So that explains why he's learning his trade, but doing a beautiful job, and the score is just hovering below 70%. So the young Esperem, Anna Merveldt, coming into the last quarter of her test here at this FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix. The prelude to tomorrow's Grand Prix Freestyle, leg 2 of the 3 legs of the Western European League calendar. All of the Central European qualifiers took place, so that is why our Western European League standings have taken a real shape, because only Wilhelmsburg, Aarhus, that is in October last year, The first of our qualifiers could run because of the great disruption caused, sadly, by Corona. But big weekend for Anna Merveldt, certainly. Looking for her first World Cup final place, and it's been a very good tune-up for young Esporim. Very good test it is, and it's going to just creep over the 70% barrier.
Aus Irland, Esporim mit Anna Merveldt.
With her mindset for tomorrow to cement her place, best 9 of the Western European League to go to Gothenburg. And exciting afternoon for Anna Merveldt.
Der FEI World Cup Dressage, präsentiert von Neurosox, der Grand Prix der Dressage. Simone Pearce vor Morgan Barbançon und Simon Messiaren. Hier das Ergebnis für Esporim und Anna Merveldt. E 72174, H 69783, C 69022, M 6913, B 71,087, neuer dritter Rang mit 70,239%. At E 72.174, at H 69.783, C 69022, at M 6913, B 71078. It is a new third place with 70.239%. 13-jährig ist der Hannoveraner des Falsterbo namens Faustus unter Mannschaftsweltmeisterin Dorothea Schneider, Deutschland, Germany.
She's yet to score Western European League points this season, but maybe she's saving her biggest game, and it is a big game, for Salzburg tomorrow and for Sertogenbosch. 52 years of age, born into an equestrian family. Her father, Hans Eberhard Schneider, himself rode up to advanced level. He judged up to Grand Prix level and was a passionate breeder of Tricanus. Dorothea was largely self-taught because of Dad's lack of time, simply. A bank clerk apprenticeship was followed by her dedication to the equestrian world. She started in 2002 the beautiful riding centre St. Stefan in Framersheim in Germany, just alongside Frankfurt, in the heart of Germany. Team gold in the Rio Olympics 2016 with Showtime, 6 individually. In London 2012, team silver, and 7th with Diva Royal. Her record is exceptional. Just the one World Cup final for Dorothea Schneider thus far in Paris. That was with Sammy Davis Jr. And a very, very creditable 5th position resulted. Team gold, 2 individual silvers in Rotterdam's Europeans 2019, again with Showtime. But Faustus, her 13-year-old Hanoverian rider, is a gelding, has been in brilliant form. December 2019 in Frankfurt, 2nd in the Grand Prix freestyle. His last outings were in Oldenburg, up in the north of Germany, alongside Bremen. November and October 2020, 2nd and 3rd in the Grand Prix Special and the Grand Prix. Immaculate hook from Dorothea Schneider. He's side by Falsterbo, who was the former Grand Prix horse of Johnny Hilberath. Johnny himself was the head coach of the German team, who won the team silver at London's Olympic Games 2012. Dorothea actually was not part of that team, she was an individual in London. His dam sire is the thoroughbred Forest XX. I mentioned bloodlines earlier and the importance of an athletic frame that the thoroughbred will naturally give. Of course, stamina, but then the paces and the elasticity crucial to this level of dressage. very much more of a warm blood factor. This horse came in 2016 as an 8-year-old to Dorothea's yard, and at the time he was bought by Professor Dr. Bernd Heike of the Fohlenhof stud. And this pair, since 2019, have been members of the German Olympiakader, the Olympic squad for German dressage. This pair were here last in 2018 in Salzburg, and it went very well. They were second in the Grand Prix. That actually was their personal best total as well. 2018, 74.609%. Already the battle is brewing between Australia and Germany. Mind you, Simone Pearce based with the Gestütz sprayer, so she's an honorary German. I think what really strikes me about this pair is the composure. It is perfect. There's no little disharmony between horse and rider. The relationship is silent, it's harmonious, it's on the point. It's got to be at this level, but it's really striking me watching Dorothea going through her paces with Faustus. Now starting just to nudge ahead of Simone Pearce. Keeping up the energy beautifully through this sequence of counter half passes. I think you can see Dorothea Schneider doing a beautiful job of sustaining the energy of the horse. It's a real balance as a dressage rider to try and control the horse, but not to let him become unnatural. So it's a real balancing, juggling act as a dressage rider. You've got to have the freedom the horse to move, to express himself. You've got to overlay it with what you want him to do. That is the perennial juggle for anybody riding a horse on the flats. I started dressage training myself about 15 I was when I got classically trained by Leslie Fink-Kelsey, who'd been from the trained herself by somebody from the Spanish riding school, so I got put through my paces for eventing, sure, but I spent many hours sweating, sad brow because I couldn't get it right. It was very, very demanding, but I learned what it's all about. Couldn't do it, but that's why I commentate, you see. Lovely test from Dorothea Schneider, coming to the back end of it and just edging ahead of Simone Pearce consistently now. So Faustus coming to the end of a powerful performance for Dorothea Schneider. Germany have got a real battle on for the World Cup final places, with Isabell Werth going to Gothenburg as of right as defending champion.
Faustus und Reitmeisterin Dorothea Schneider, Deutschland, Germany.
Of course, with no points on the Western European League, but if she could win tomorrow and win in the Netherlands in mid-March, she would
Unterwegs schon das Resultat für die beiden. Es sind nämlich bei E 76,196, bei H 74,13, C verbucht 77,065, M 73,696 und B 74,783. Führungswechsel 75,174%.
My German is a bit scratchy, but I
At
did hear
E,
Führung Wechsel,
76.196, at H, 74.13, C, 77.065, M, 73.696, B, 74.783%. It is a new lead, 75.174%. Damit, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, die Halbzeitpause ist erreicht. Dem FEI World Cup Dressage, dem Grand Prix, präsentiert von Neurosocks. Schauen wir einmal auf das aktuelle Klassement. Dorothea Schneider gerade in Führung gegangen mit Faustus 75,174. Simone Pearce, die erste Starterin, die auch lange führte, nunmehr auf dem zweiten Rang, 72,043, hauchdünn dahinter Morgan Barbançon aus Frankreich. Anna Merveldt belegt den vierten Rang, Simon Missiaren auf 5 und Francesco Zaza derzeit auf 6. Nun eine kleine Pause hier bei uns. Gegen 9:18 Uhr geht das nächste Paar herein. Das ist dann Annabelle mit Helen Langehanenberg.
But don't go far. Put the kettle on briefly, because 9:18 will see Helen Langehanenberg forward. 7 more to come, and they are a very strong second half to this Grand Prix. We'll see you shortly, live from Salzburg. Thank you for watching. think about no teeth with that? After her. After you. No, watch her. Okay, cool. Welcome back, everybody. Delighted you join us again for the second half of the FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix, presented by Neurosocks. At this 15th running of the Neurosocks Amadeus Horse Show here in Salzburg, we've had a very good first half of the competition.
Es geht weiter mit dem zweiten Teil im FEI World Cup Dressage, dem Grand Prix der Dressage, präsentiert von Neurosocks. Derzeit Dorothea Schneider aus Deutschland mit Faustus führend, 75,174, vor Simone Pearce und Morgan Barbançon steigen wir ein in die zweite Hälfte im FEI World Cup Dressage von Salzburg. 13-jährig, die Holsteinerin, die hereinkommt, namens Isabell. Abstammend von Conteur und Linaro, unter der Weltcup-Finalsiegerin von 2013. Hier ist Helen Langehanenberg, Deutschland, Germany.
Here in Salzburg, we're delighted to have the top four in the Western European League standings on the road to Gothenburg. Jessica von Bredow-Werndl will start late, as will Patrick Kittel. Helen Langehanenberg is the next up, and Helen lying in third position on the Western European League. Germany, of course, just taking over the lead with Dorothea Schneider, but now the battle really starts to brew. It's very tight, as we've explained earlier. Qualification for Gothenburg for the Germans, because only 3 per nation are eligible to qualify. And Isabell already qualified as of right as the defending World Cup champion. Only 2 spaces available. Helen and Jessica, you'd well fancy. But as we said before, if Dorothea Schneider could win tomorrow and again in Sertogenbosch, not yet certain. 38 years of age, Helen Langehanenberg gets underway. Hails from Münster. It's an area of Germany renowned for dressage legend Dr. Rainer Klimke. Himself from North Rhine-Westphalia. His daughter Ingrid Klimke, one of the best of all time in eventing. And the big link between Ingrid Klimke and Helen Langehanenberg, because Damon Hill was the horse that propelled Helen into the limelight, was produced initially by Ingrid, and Helen completed her Ausbildung zum Pferdewirt at Ingrid Klimke's stable. That's basic training. Be far from basic with Ingrid, because what she can't do on a horse doesn't need doing. It's a bright start for Helen Langehanenberg. 5 World Cup finals already, including the win at the finals in Gothenburg 2013. That was with Damon Hill, NRW. Didn't quite establish the halt there. Out of the rein back was just slightly not immobile, which would be again the judges' strict criteria there. Helen started riding at 6 years of age. Her first pony arrived at home at 10. Her international career started in 2008. And her first big win was in Sertogenbosch in the Grand Prix Special in 2011 with Damon Hill once again. And then huge headlines in 2011 in Aachen, no less, winning both the Grand Prix and the Grand Prix Special at the epicenter of world horse sports that is Aachen. Already just yapping at Dorothea Schneider's heels. Her stable is in Billebeck, locally to Münster. Well, naturally, she trains dressage horses. It's not a great revelation of big surprise this morning. Annabelle, this 13-year-old Holsteiner mare, went superbly. Their last outing was a win. Wilhelmsborg near Aarhus, Jutland in Denmark. Won with a very good 75.659%. Her Grand Prix PB, however, came in Hagen, at home in Germany. That was 72.761% in July of last year. So she's already over her personal best with that running total. Side by Contour, Damsire, Linaro. Bred and owned by Günther Fielmann. Neck and neck between the two lead Germans at this point, as Helen Langehanenberg tries to secure the tempi changes. Annabelle again has got a great frame, light, athletic, not too powerful. There's too much muscle bulk. The horses, come the end of tomorrow's test, could be getting a little bit weary. That's the strong advantage of this light frame that some of the horses this morning have showcased. Not always the way the dressage horses are built, which is why it's eye-catching. Incredible World Cup final record, that win in Gothenburg. Second in Lyon 2018, last time in Gothenburg third. That's with Dempsey. And the first World Cup finals were in Leipzig 2011. That was seventh, in fact her worst of the 5 individual placings, which says quite something about Helen's ambitions for Gothenburg. Qualification nearly secure, unless Dorothea Schneider does the unthinkable tomorrow. And it's Sertogenbosch. Now, how are her pirouettes? I'd say accurate, but didn't quite have that sort of really expressive quality. Right-handed was stronger. But she's just dropping off the Schneider score. But the German 1-2 is looking like a virtual certainty. But now, come on. And Langehanenberg needs a big finish here. It's a very generous €65,000, the prize fund, split between the Grand Prix and the Kruth tomorrow, the freestyle. €15,000 is up for grabs today. And then a whopping €50,000 for tomorrow's showdown. Piaf really on a point, did not move a millimetre off the entry point, which is ideal. Very hard with the Piaf not to have it wandering forward. It's going to be very close, certainly, between Helen Langehanenberg and Dorothea Schneider. Very good performance from Annabelle.
Helen Langehanenberg.
They were fifth here last year, hoping to improve in 2021. And we get back in action after our break. German ladies dazzling, and we wait to see which of them is the
Und dann
brightest
schon
score.
direkt das Resultat. Es sind dann bei E 74,457, bei H glatte 75, bei C wiederum 72,609, M 76,196 und B 74,022. Ein neuer zweiter Rang, 74,457%. At E 74.457, at H 75, at C 72.609, at M 76.196, B scores 74.022, and then eventually a
Super
second
test
place,
from Helen Langehanenberg. Annabelle scoring
74.457.
It's going to go
Somit
just
bleibt
over
es bei der
half a
Führung
percent
von
behind Dorothea Schneider.
mit
A German
Faustus,
1-2 is established here in Salzburg.
174.
And the lady that
Helen
looks
Langehanenberg
very
auf
secure
zwei.
on
Simone
her trip
Pearce
to
hält sich auf
Gothenburg,
dem dritten
or
Rang.
off her trip to Gothenburg, performs well in the Grand Prix.
43%. So the lead remains with Dorothea Schneider of Germany, 75.174. Trailed by now Helen Langehanenberg from Germany and the Australian Simone Pearce. Helen Langehanenberg im Übrigen derzeit in der Weltcup-Gesamtwertung
Certainly absolutely wonderful to be back in action
Corona-Saison
in 2021, and we must
2020 auf
say
dem dritten Rang
a big thank you.
hereinkommt, die aktuell
Sterling work from the
der
team here, headed up by
Weltcup-Wertung
the honorary president,
mit
Dr.
dem
Ernst
13-jährigen
Grütnitz,
Johnson
the event
nachkommen,
president, Mr.
Hexagons
Josef
Double
Goldner,
Dutch,
and the event
kommt
director, Mr. Thomas
Tamar
Kreidel,
Feistrap,
had to delay
Niederlande,
the
the
December
Netherlands.
fixture. But we were very glad to blow off the corona cobwebs of the late winter to run this year. And of course, hopes very much in with Hertogenbosch. Teams doing their utmost best to secure everything with all the necessary protocols. And the World Cup finals in Gothenburg still very much on. Of course, the situation ever changing, and we must always bow in respect of corona if it is too risky. But things going ahead at this point. Well done to Salzburg though, and it's great to be here. We now come to the lone wolf this morning for the Netherlands. Fanny Feistrap gets underway. World ranked number 57 with this Hexagons Double Dutch. Fanny hails from the Dutch province of Zeeland, just north of the Belgian border. 38 years of age. Her career started in 2007, so her 15th year of international competition. Now this again is crucial for Fanny because she lies 8th in the Western European League standings currently. And that is on 23 points, so right on the cusp of qualification. Top 9 to sail to Gothenburg. So bidding for her first World Cup final. It's Schor in the Netherlands, the Zeeland base of Fanny Feistrap, based at the Stahl Hexagon, works as a horse coach and deals with their sales horses as well. The Grand Prix PB 73.152 from Mariakalnok in Hungary, June of last year. This pair, Salzburg regulars, were here last year and the year before, and they're an ever-improving quantity. 2018, 8th in the Kür, 7th in the Grand Prix, and last year, 6th in the Kür, 5th in the Grand Prix. So I'm no mathematician, but this year, It must be 5th in the Kruth, 4th in the Grand Prix. Stacks up the statistics. Not one for the stats, but that should be the result. It's a beautiful onward bound chestnut muscle bull. It's their 6th season as a combination. They started in August 2016. They won their first 4 outings, 4 intermediaires in succession. They had their Nations Cup call-up for the Dutch team. It was in 2018 in May in Denmark. Team bronze it was, quite a baptism. They then went to the Great Falsterbo Horse Show in southern Sweden. The same year, July 2018, again, team bronze. And they had a very impressive individual performance there in the Grand Prix Special for 5th place. It was their sort of coming of age. They had a very good year last year. Of course, everybody with runs few and far between. They had only 2 outings, both in Hungary, Grand Prix and Grand Prix freestyles in, again, Mariakalnok and in the Budapest region. 3rd place on all of those 4 starts, so a very good 2020, short, compact, but successful. Well, this is his forte though. His passage is just bursting with energy. What I love about this horse is for a horse with such big movement, he's very calm and composed. Doesn't get hot under the collar, but he is really pounding out the paces here. Great 2019, he had a pair of wins in Le Mans in France, Grand Prix and Grand Prix Special. Well, see why they're the world ranked 57th combination. Famous Feistrap, 70.913, so just ahead of Anna Merveldt at this point. Currently lying in 5th position, the seasoned Irish competitor. Her Grand Prix debut came at just 18 years of age. Marked her out as a young star for the Netherlands, was the youngest ever Grand Prix rider to achieve Grand Prix. Impressive at 18. This horse, Dutch bred, KWPN Royal Studbook, bred by the Van Leerens. Is beautifully bred by Johnson TN, the team Nijhoff's great stallion, and his dam sire Rubikil. I'm enjoying from this Dutch test the forward nature. It's really expressive. Horses just bowling through the movements. Perhaps at times in those tempo changes getting a little bit on his forehand, just perhaps a little bit downhill. But I guess that's the nature of the beast with such a forward test. Famous Feistrap is giving us a great exhibition of her talents, and we very much hope to see her in Gothenburg as well. Big freestyle for her tomorrow to cement her first World Cup final place. There's just a no fuss, no frolics test from the Dutch. It just keeps bowling on. It's really positive. Dorothea Schneider still out in front, 75.174. The German 1-2 with Helen Langehanenberg narrowly second by 0.5%. But I've enjoyed this test. Famous Feistrap rounds out with Hexagon's double Dutch. Second of the second half of this FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix. Presented by our title sponsors, Neuro Socks. The cleverest socks in the world, as my rather basic German allows me to translate behind double Dutch. He's young enough as well at just 13 years of age, so this pair are going to be exciting for Dutch dressage. Well done, famous Feistrap. She'll be delighted with that. It was powerful, it was expressive, and a real joy to watch.
Das 9. Paar im Grand Prix de
Mexicans double Dutch.
Von Neurosox, das war Double Dutch.
Hopefully,
Und
going to put Fema very much into her first World Cup finals tomorrow. But the precursor today is a job very well done.
Und auf dem Weg zu uns das Ergebnis bei E 67,935, H 72,717, C verbucht 70,87, M wiederum 71,739 und B 71,63. Ein neuer 5. Rang für die beiden 70,978%. At E a percentage of 67.935, H 72.717, C 70.87, M
the marks for famous Feistrap. 70.978 has put the Dutch pair into 5th position. Totally agree with the judging, just in behind Morgan Barbançon.
78%.
Just top of the Dutch pair, my reckoning as well, and just ahead of the young gun Esperin for Ireland's Anna Merveldt. So sandwiched into 5th position, 70.978. Puts her just over 4% in arrears of Dorothea Schneider. But as we say, all about tomorrow for this partnership. Today's job well done, giving them a real confidence boost. Got a nice long break until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
9 Paare, die wir gesehen haben.
Start time of the
14.
World Cup freestyle.
5 sind es also noch. Bei dieser zweiten von 3 Etappen in der Westeuropa-Liga auf dem Weg zum Finale von Göteborg, Wilhelmsburg-Aarhus, Salzburg-Sertogenbosch. Hereinkommt dann das 10. Paar, 15-jährig. Hier ist Brother de Jeu, Niederländer des Voice und Jazz. Und im Doppel sitzt die Europameisterschafts-Team-Bronzemedaillengewinnerin Antonia Ramel, Schweden, Sweden.
Just 5 more to come here in Salzburg. The Grand Prix rounding out, but what a 5 it is to complete what has been a great morning. 1.5 hours into the action, here with you live from the Messezentrum in this beautiful city, 4th largest in Austria. Salzburg literally translates into Salt Fortress. It's got an incredible castle that sits on top of the hill. Hoping to nip along there this afternoon and see what the incredible history books to recount Salzburg's story say about this wonderful castle. Here we go. 2 for Sweden to come back to back, and Antonia Ramel, 35 years of age, will lead the charge. Her trainer Patrick Kittel will follow. This is the 10th to start the Grand Prix. World rank number 37 with this horse, Brother de Jeu. Antonia, the oldest of the 2 Ramel sisters. Her youngest sister, Juliette, was a Rio Olympian and rode in the Worlds in Tryon. They were team colleagues in Rotterdam, and that was superb. Team bronze it was for Sweden, just 0.2 of a percentage behind the Dutch, who won the silver. It was very, very tight, and that, Antonia states, unsurprisingly, is her career highlights. And already, powerful starts. Trains and is based with Patrick Kittel. Joined the team in March 2016. Purchased this horse, Brother de Jeu, from Patrick. And based at his outstanding stables in Nottelen, in the north of Germany. Quite impressive because Brother de Jeu has been Antonia's sole campaigner since their debut in 2017. Although recently he's got a stablemate in Curiosity, who did his first competition last year in Wilhelmsburg in October. Good square horse, very good from Antonia Ramel. This is a great score. She's already established 75%. Had a very good Nations Cup victory with the Swedish team at home in 2018 in Compiègne. They then had an even bigger victory on home soil in Falsterbo, July of the same year. Now their Grand Prix PB is very good, 74.848, so not quite a Dorothea Schneider, 75.174, but within a hair's breadth. And again, beautiful, elegant, blood type of horse. Side by Voice, Dam Sire Jazz, bred by Emmy de Jeu, hence the name, in the Netherlands. Last outing was in Wilhelmsburg for 10th in the freestyle. Dorothea Schneider will be sitting nervously because the Swedish pair pushing Faustus very closely. Now, the walk, I think, is going to lose some marks here, just rather short of stride. Rather anticipating that transition into the passage. Just see the rather crabbing look of the walk. Crab-like walk. But that is a tiny blemish in what overall has been an outstanding first half to the Swedish test tip. Antonia Ramel works out vigorously. She's a keen cook as well, so she's got to work out. Just like myself, actually. You're a sports fanatic and you like cooking. It's a perfect combination. If you like cooking and you don't like sport, you've got a problem. The horse will hate you. But again, like the Dutch test we just enjoyed, a lovely, effortless feeling to this whole performance from Antonia Ramel. It's just happening. Always stands out the really good test when it just looks so unscripted almost. It's got a beautiful head carriage. And for our younger viewers, Antonia's hands are position A. Always in contact, but forward above the horse's withers, consistent. Tempo changes. Beautifully straight across the diagonal. Balance retained immaculately. Very, very sharp. From the world ranked 37th combination, Brothers. Aside from that little walk has been fairly flawless, a little break in the rhythm down onto the centre line. Antonia sadly languishes on the Western European League standings, down in 26th position with the 8 points that they secured in Wilhelmsburg with that 10th position. So she's got to go great guns tomorrow. I think this performance is going to give her confidence, certainly. And with only the 2 scores to count, does mean that good finish tomorrow, and if she was to go to 's Hertogenbosch, could scrap that 10th place off counting scores, and still has got a very good chance to qualify if she goes to the Netherlands as well. So lots to like from the Swedish test from Antonia Ramel, brother de jeu completing. Really enjoyed watching their test, and it's going to put them right up amongst the leaders, certainly. Beautiful performance.
Brother
Antonia Ramel. It's her first trip to
Salzburg,
Salzburg.
Sweden.
With this beautiful tall bay. She gets her Austrian love affair off to a promising start. And we'll await that score with a lot of interest. Sort of imagining
Neurosocks präsentiert den Grand Prix.
Close to Simone Pearce in third position. I don't think can touch Helen or Dorothea.
FEI Dressage im
Got her at
Einsatz
about
und dankenswerterweise
72-73%.
sehr schnell das Resultat bei E
In my mind, we'll wait and see.
71,196, bei H 73,804, C 74,022, M 73,152, B 75,326. Ein neuer dritter Rang mit 73,5%. At E 71.196, at H 73,804, at C 74,022, at M 73,152, at B
Superb, 73.5% for Antonia Ramel, brother de jeu. Puts the Swede into third position, up onto the podium. But she's going to now come under heavy fire from her trainer, fellow Swede Patrick Kittel.
Der Oldenburger
So next with just now 4 to come.
Derzeit Zweiten der Weltcup-Wertung dieser Saison und dem dreifachen Bronzemedaillengewinner
Patrick Kittel absolutely poised to go to Gothenburg for the World Cup finals because second place is his current Western European League standing. If he was to go to Gothenburg, it would be impressive because already 7 World Cup finals for Patrick. And the 3-time Olympian, Hong Kong, London and Rio de Janeiro gets underway. 44 years of age. He's been a dazzling producer of Grand Prix horses up to 45. He's nurtured up to this level, and it really is a long, demanding process as a rider to give the horses the consistency, the education that they need, and it's a really step-by-step journey. Got to keep their confidence and trust on board throughout their progression, and Patrick's a real master of that. He's an incredible communicator, whether it's with horses or with humans. Incredible man through and through. 6 European Championships, Team Bronze in Gothenburg, the home Europeans of 2017 in the brilliant Ullevi Stadium. And also Team Bronze in Gothenburg's Europeans 2 years ago. One of his individual highlights came in the Rotterdam 2011 Europeans. That was with his brilliant Watermill Scandic, individual bronze. And Delaunay, his rider this morning. The world ranks 24th as a partnership. Patrick's World Equestrian Games record is again dazzling. Tryon individually, 4th in the Grand Prix, 5th in the Grand Prix Special, and narrowly missing out on a team medal in North Carolina 3 years ago, with 4th with the Swedish team. Patrick runs the outstanding stables in Nottelen, northern Germany, with his wife, double Olympian herself for Australia, Lyndall Oakley. And already off to a very strong start. Their record is outstanding. 56 international starts, have yielded 17 wins. I'll give you a very much potted history. Grand Prix and freestyle wins in Falsterbo 2015. The same year, they took the Grand Prix and the freestyle at the post-Christmas showdown in Belgium at Mechelen in Belgium. As I said, sorry, the coffee faltering again. They did the double in Falsterbo 2016, and the following year was a very big win in 2017, where they took the freestyle at the London International Horse Show, the Great Grand Hall at Olympia. So this pair are truly outstanding. As their score reflecting, the battle is now right on between Dorothea Schneider, 75.174 to beat. And the Swede is right on her heels. Patrick's Grand Prix PB 77.652%. Secured at home in Stockholm, December 2018. A virtual certainty to go to his 8th World Cup finals. In the Scandinavian, Gothenburg. Patrick was 11 years of age when he realised that horses were going to become his life, and the Olympic dream was forged as a young Swedish lad. It was Inga May Byland that taught Patrick initially, and actually he was pretty fortunate because his dressage became part of his school timetable, broke free of the strict system, set this treble Olympian on his path. But he knew that it was Germany where he'd really strike gold. He went initially to the stable of Klaus Martin Rath in Schleswig-Holstein, then to Klaus Balkenhol, the famous trainer. Launay, 15 years of age this time, Oldenburg bred gelding. Side by Dr. Doolittle, dam sire Fine Brand. We'll be waiting to see whether he delivers his Guns N' Roses Wings freestyle performance tomorrow that he rolled out in fine style in Wilhelmsburg late last year. So Patrick Kittel still challenging Dorothea Schneider for the Grand Prix victory. As I say, 17 wins for this pair so far. So win number 18. It's possible this morning, of course, the end of this Grand Prix features the lady that leads the Western European League, Jessica von Bredow-Werndl, and a brilliant combination, Karina Kasso, Kruth for Denmark coming second last, but the very last to go. World number 1, Isabell Werth, will be bidding to repeat her Salzburg brace of victories from last year. So Patrick is in a serious cauldron of talent for this Grand Prix title. Missed his trademark smile over the winter season with the cancellations. Can't wait to see Patrick illuminate the Messezentrum, because he'll be delighted with this test from Delaunay. Very little to catch the eye as a blemish or an error. His pupil, Antonia Ramel, 73.5 a third percent, and Patrick Kittel, you would imagine, will just nudge ahead of his apprentice.
Delaunay.
There's the smile.
Kittel,
good to see.
Sweden.
Patrick, business as usual. I'm delighted with Delaunay. as we say, second in the Western European League, so 8th World Cup final is very much in the offing come late March, early April. Patrick Kittel, superb test, was 4th last of the Grand Prix this morning.
Bei E dann 74,674, H 76,087, C verbucht 75,761, M wiederum 76,63 und B 77,283%. Neue Führung 76,087%. The result is at E.
Well, as we wait for Patrick Kittel's score, here it is. Oh, it's a lot better than I anticipated. I apologise, Patrick. 76.087%. The running score was a bit deceptive. It was very strong early on, but Patrick Kittel flies under the radar into first position. Topples Dorothea Schneider by just under 1%. Sweden in first and fourth, that is brilliant, with just 3 more to come, but what a 3 they are. Western European League leader next to come. Karina, Kasso, Kruth on the youngest horse of the field, and the world number 1 all to come. Patrick Kittel has put a real cat among the pigeons. Things are going to, I think, get very exciting. Next 30 minutes is going to be gripping. So we focus, 3 more to come. And Western European League leader, world rank number 3 with this horse as well. Jessica von Bredow-Werndl gets underway. 14-year-old stallion TSF Dalera BB is Jessica's ride this morning. Runs the good Albenhausen stud just to the south of Munich in Germany's southern lands. Her brother Benjamin Werndl, himself a superb competitor. The Daily Mirror, his top horse. Jessica married Max von Bredow in 2013. They have a gorgeous son together. Himself, Max, was an event rider. And talking of Salzburg, talking of the sporting depth in this region, the Hahnenkamm delayed we hear till tomorrow. Hopefully after the freestyle, otherwise I'm going to be having a real split of my inclinations. But talking of skiing, Jessica's mother Michaela was a member of the German junior ski team. Father Klaus was a German national sailing champion, so the apple does not fall far from the sports trees. Both mum and dad in the thick of world sports. Isabell Werth had a very important role in developing Jessica's young career, and brother Benjamin trained the von Bredow-Werndl pair for 5 years. Had a stint with Andreas Hausberger, who was one of the head riders of the Spanish riding school in Vienna. But 2012 was a real changing point for this lady. Uni BB arrived on the yard, took her to the very pinnacle of world dressage. This lovely stallion was to ride in the World Games in Tryon. Team gold, naturally. Germans virtually unbeatable on the world stage. And 4 World Cup finals for Jessica so far, all with Uni BB, and 3rd on all occasions, impressively, 2015, 16 and 18. Now, I said stallion earlier. My notes had said mare. I think my start list is wrong, so I apologise, but I'm pretty sure my preparation, it took me a long time. My wife went off skiing and I was stuck at the desk at home. It is a mare, bred by Silke Fass. Stallion easy game. Downside here, Hendrik. Look at that score. Patrick Kittel's lead is going to be very short-lived here, barring totally unpredicted disaster in the second half for Western European League leader. This pair are on a phenomenal streak. They've won their last 7 competitive outings since November 2019, where the victory run started in Stuttgart. Again, not far from Jessica's base, down in the south of Germany. Took a Nations Cup victory with the German team. Little moment there. Out of the Piaf, that win came in Aachen, 2019. Huge victory. Their personal best at Grand Prix level is 81.5% precisely from Neumünster. February last year, so that just shows the kind of score this pair are capable of, and they're not far below that PB right here, right now. Not only the world's in triumph for this pair, but also that brilliant performance in Rotterdam's Europeans a couple of years ago now. Individual bronze in the freestyle, team gold, naturally. 79.680 is a whopping total. If they can anchor this test as they've got it going, this is going to be a very commanding score, but it's got to be with the quality of the two that are remaining. A relatively new pair at the international scene for Denmark to come, but they're outstanding. And the world number 1, Isabell Werth. That's a real shame. It's the second horse to have a problem at end. We had a stumble earlier in the Grand Prix, and sadly, TSF Valera BB has a heart-stopping moment, but the score has maintained at a high level. It's just one moment, and their composure has not broken. But I think that could potentially be costly because of the quality of the two to come. I hope not, but with the same pressure that Isabell Werth's going to put on Jessica shortly, it is possibly going to be decisive. Very bright trot to finish up the test of the Western European League leader, world number 3, Jessica von Bredow-Werndl, completing just that one blemish at M. But still, Patrick Kittel's scores being well and truly scorched. But as I say, it's the 2 to follow that is going to be very much on Jessica's mind. Normally, Isabell Werth doesn't get beaten, and normally doesn't get beaten by a less than flawless performance. But a very, very good Piaf down the centre line. But the Munich-based Jessica von Bredow-Werndl. And a big score is coming through. Super test to watch. Unlucky moments. That's horse sports. It creates real characters as riders. Very nice test, and we wait. Surely Patrick Kittel's score is going to fall. Just the question now, is that enough to win the Grand Prix? Because their winning streak, we'd love it to continue. 7 wins already. Win number 8 is possible.
Patrick Kittel führend 76,087%. Und dann für Larissa und Jessica von Bredow-Werndl aus Deutschland. Bei E 79,13, H verbucht glatte 80, C80,761, M
There's absolutely no doubt of the lead for Jessica, 79.565%.
Es ist eine
Opens up
Neuführung mit 79,63.
commanding lead over the field.
FE 79.13.
3.6% or so ahead of Patrick Kittel. But we now focus because two more to come, ladies and gentlemen.
And B 79.5.
End of a stunning FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix, presented here in Salzburg by Eurosocks. Two remaining. I must say this pair that come gives me a lot of pleasure. I've enjoyed watching them at home in Herning over the last couple of years. Karina Kasso Kruth comes forward for Denmark. 36 years of age. World rank number 39 with this wonderful Halines Danciera. Karina lies currently in a three-way tie for 16th position on the Western European League standings. They went brilliantly at home in Denmark in Wilhelmsborg for fourth in the freestyle. This mare, she's the youngest in the field at a tender 10. Karina's husband, Kasper Kasso, who will be running the Echo FEI World Equestrian Games in 2022 at Herning. Jumping dressage, para-dressage and vaulting. He's a wonderful organiser. He's an auctioneer, a commentator, a husband. And we wish the pair very well as they try and travel to Gothenburg for their very first World Cup finals in a couple of months. Their outing in Wilhelmsborg was superb, fifth in the Grand Prix. Set up that outstanding fourth in the freestyle. She was just 9 back end of last year, was the youngest horse there as well. They won a silver medal at the Danish Championships in the Equator in Denmark, September 2020, prior to the October World Cup fixture. The pair's eyes are very firmly focused on Tokyo 2020. They're very much under surveillance of the Danish national team. Princess Natalie Suzanne Wittgenstein loves this combination and loves Danciera, saying she's the most uncomplicated horse she's ever met. She's only 10, the daughter of Fürstenbach. Paul Schockemoller's stunning 15-year-old jet black stallion, this horse's father. First Heinrich Florestan, the first Fidelio is the line. The mother's line, Donnerhall, back to Donnerwetter, Fürstenball. Himself, this horse's father, has produced 75 licensed stallions, 8 breeding years, 120 state premium mares, and himself was Stallion of the Year at the Danish Warm Blood Stallion licensing show in Herning in 2018. Powerful starts for Karina Kasso Kruth. She's out of dance line, Damsai here, De Niro, who sadly passed away at 24 years of age. It's 4 years ago, owned by Burkhard Wahler, Klosthof Meddingen. I know Christoph, Burkhard's son, well from eventing. Christoph, part of the German team at the Lamoulen Europeans 2019 with Caritan S, so some interesting history. This horse's breeding pedigree. And Halines Danciera's 6th season in competition. She started the World Young Horse Champs in Ermelo in July. That was 2016, finishing 4th in the 5-year-old final analysis. They repeated that feat precisely in 2018 in the 7-year-olds, finishing 4th again. Incredible elastic movement into this passage. Just struggling to maintain the piaffe a little bit. Their first Grand Prix win was at Fluinga in Sweden, September 2019. And there they took the scalp of 7-time Olympian goddess of dressage from Sweden, Tina Wilhelmsen-Silfen. Good score from Karina Kasso Kruth already. Just a couple of little moments, but very solid. Last year, they started in an emphatic style. It was the pair's first 5-star dressage show, in fact, in Herning. They were second in both the Grand Prix and the Grand Prix Special, just behind Catherine Dufour. It's Bohemian for Catherine, just tipped Helen Langehanenberg on the 2 occasions. Beautiful extension, just floating across the diagonal. The Grand Prix PB 76.413%. That was set at Herning in that 2nd place last year. But that 4th in Wilhelmsburg was outstanding in the World Cup. It has given Karina Kasso Kruth a chance of her first World Cup final. Lying in 16th position, best 9 to qualify. Karina initially wanted to be a vet out of school, but then undertook quite an arduous process in Denmark to become a horse trainer. It's a 6-year affair. She qualified in 2011 with the highest marks they'd ever had in the history in Denmark, which was brilliant. Show jumped for quite a time post-graduation, up to 1.45 m before exclusively focusing on dressage. And that pirouette was immaculate. Just think this mare is only 10. Denmark as a team, led by Catherine Dufour, with this lady. I can tell you, it's going to be very interesting a few years ahead. Andreas Helgestrand. I'll never forget the performance in Aachen 06 with Blue Horse Matinee. Had us all in tears watching it. It was so good. They're an incredible nation. And I think Karina Kasso Kruth is going to become a fixture with this mare, bearing in mind her age for the coming years. And if they could get to Gothenburg, they're going to come into the public eye very sharply in early April. And they're ready. We've seen it this morning. They're well ready. It's a beautiful exit line from the Danish pair. Super stuff here in Salzburg. Karina Kasso Kruth. Right at the end of this Grand Prix, completes a very solid test with Helen Langehanenberg. First of all, daughter, youngest horse in the field, does not show any rawness. Karina holds her nerve beautifully.
Jessica from Bredow-Werndl,
the Danish selectors will be focusing on her very much in advance of the Olympic Games.
Im Endresultat für Nazira und Karina Kasso Kruth bei E 71,739, H 73,913. C verbucht wiederum 71,522, M dann 73,804, B
73,804%.
Rang 6
The overall impression,
72,804%,
very favourable.
at E 71,739,
Cost her a few marks. Karina goes into 6th position. With one more to come, Jessica von Bredow-Werndl, 79.630% is the target. With one to come, and it's the world number 1 we welcome into the Messe-Zentrum. Isabell Werth, double defending champion from last year here in Salzburg, 51 years of age, the Rhinelander, from Sevelen,
Deutschland, Germany.
Isabell, who studied law initially, worked for a year as a lawyer before giving way to her dressage dynasty she's established. Not the first German dressage star to combine law and dressage, because Dr. Rainer Klimke himself was a lawyer. World number 1 currently with Bella Rose, and with this beautiful Via Gold OLD, world rank number 2. Reigning World Cup champion. An extraordinary win at the home of the FEI World Cup in Gothenburg 2019. So here we go, sit back and enjoy as the current European champion, a lady who's been at 5 Olympics, 6-time Olympic champion, 10 Olympic medals in total, 5 team golds. The individual gold came at Atlanta, Georgia 96 with Gigolo, 4 individual silvers at the Olympics, 6 World Games, including 8 individual golds at the Worlds, and 9 team golds at the Europeans, over 15 European Championships. Quite extraordinary. Must lay a very strong claim to being the best dressage rider of all time. And Via Gold OLD, 16 years of age, the Blue Horse Don Schufro mare is on course to try and defend the title of last year. 79.630% of Jessica von Bredow-Werndl is the score for the world number 1 to target. Via Gold's career is extraordinary. 48 wins out of 64 international starts. And their Rio Olympic performance was again another highlight of their glittering career, because that was the team gold and individual silver behind another of the greatest pairs we've had in world dressage, Charlotte Dujardin and Vallegro, who toppled Isabell out in Brazil. Now, it's played a very good game of catch up here, but still trailing Jessica's score. As we say, this is fascinating as Jessica tries to extend her winning streak from 7 to 8. And the world number 1 tries to defend her title of last year, so a lot at stake for both of the German ladies. Superb walk from Via Gold. Daughter of Blue Horse Don Schufro is Andreas Helgestrand. We mentioned Andreas earlier. He's riding the Hong Kong Olympics of 08. Dam side here is Sandro Hitz. So at this point, just behind Jessica von Bredow-Werndl. So the battle is very much on here in Salzburg. The 15th annual edition of this Neurosox Amadeus Indoor Horse Show is really bristling. Germany at the moment, 1st, 3rd and 4th with Jessica, Dorothea and Helen Langehanenberg. But Isabell Werth is bidding to defend her Salzburg crown. She's not part of the Western European League standings, as qualified automatically as the defending World Cup champion. Isabell brought to the world stage in dressage by 2 crucial links in her career, Dr. Schulten-Baumer Der Doctor was the initial influence which propelled her upwards. They worked together for 14 years. And then Madeleine Winter-Schultz, the great owner, the likes of Isabell, Ludger Beerbaum, stayed with Madeleine for 2 years as friend and sponsor. And Weigold OLD is coming towards the end. This battle is going to the wire. A fascinating year from the point of view we just haven't seen the combinations as normal. So we don't know at what position in their training or their degree of perfection they're at currently. That is the mystery of these Corona times, the sad mystery, but the truth of the matter. And of course, these horses, they need outings to get them match fit, match ready. That's what just gives a slightly interesting dimension to the Corona disruption. Got to find some positives. Isabell Werth, as ever, immaculate into her pirouettes. Left-hander is very fluent, beautifully balanced, and yes, is just creeping ahead now of Jessica von Bredow-Werndl to defend her Grand Prix title here in Salzburg. But I can tell you that the pair of wins came with Emilio, her other very good horse, not Weigold. So Isabell herself will defend the title with a little bit of luck, just purely skill. Weigold would be a new victor for the world number one. And here we go. It's all happening as expected from the script. Isabell Werth has even got time to have a little look at the judgery and say, yeah, are you watching? There's not many of us here, sadly, but we all are. Eyes glued to the world number one as Jessica von Bredow-Werndl's winning streak, we think, is ending this morning, because Weigold OLD completing immaculate as ever. And the first time our small crowd has become animated. Big smile.
OLD under Isabell Werth.
Not easy for the likes of Isabell. She's so used to competing every weekend, and this is a totally different feel. The start of 2021 for the Rhinelander. But she's come out as ever. Her mindset is so strong. That is her total hallmark. She knows no fear. She's purely confident, purely focused. And another dazzling performance. And we, for the scoreboard, expect Isabell Werth is going to claim this FEI World Cup Dressage Grand Prix presented by Neurosox here in Salzburg.
The result at E is a score of 80.543. At H, 82.065, C, 81.304, M, 82.826, and B, 82.5. It is eventually the winning result.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is a victory for Isabell Werth.
Das waren sie also, liebe Gäste, die 14 Reiterinnen und
Weigold OLD, as expected, claims the Grand Prix here in Salzburg for the world number one. 81.848%, the first score to go over the 80% barrier. And here's confirmation of the final results of this morning's Grand Prix. It's the German 1-2. Jessica von Bredow-Werndl's winning streak sadly ending, but second, 79.630% with TSF Valera. Patrick Kittel flies the Swedish flag up on the podium in third position, 76.087. And the bottom of our leaderboard, they've all been great tests to watch. But of course, we are all set for tomorrow's big occasion, the second of the three legs of the Western European League World Cup Series. and we'll be very much looking forward to welcoming you back tomorrow morning. We'll be starting at 11 o'clock. And with only Salzburg and Sertogenbosch still remaining in advance of Gothenburg, there's a lot at stake tomorrow with the best 9 only of the Western European League to qualify for World Cup finals. Have a great Saturday, and we will see you tomorrow morning live here in the Messezentrum. From myself, Ed Holloway, and the entire team here, good morning. We hope you enjoyed the action, and do join us tomorrow at 11. The freestyle battle is brewing very, very nicely. Good morning.
Und natürlich eine bessere Lebensqualität erlangen. Die Neurosocks derzeit in aller Munde, und wenn Sie mögen, schauen Sie vorbei online unter www.neuro-socks.com. Und hier kommen die Besten im FEI Dressage World Cup. Der Grand Prix de Dressage, präsentiert von Neurosox, der FEI Dressage World Cup von Salzburg am heutigen Samstag. Er wird gewonnen von der 16-jährigen Don Schufro und Sandro-Hit-Tochter Weihegold OLD und von Isabell Werth, Deutschland, Germany. Liebe Gäste, bitte erheben Sie sich von Ihren Plätzen, natürlich hier in der Salzburg Arena, aber wenn Sie mögen, auch gerne am Livestream. Zu Ehren der Siegerin erklingt die deutsche Nationalhymne. Ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly ask you to rise for the national anthem of Germany.
Mit größtem Respekt gesprochen, gibt es Pferde, die sind einfach nur Pferde. Dann gibt es Pferde, sie sind Persönlichkeiten, und es gibt Pferde, die prägen eine Veranstaltung wie unsere über Jahre. Und ein solches Pferd, eines der weltbesten Dressurpferde, steht vor uns, nämlich Weihegold OLD. Ich erinnere mich gerne zurück, als sie hier als Youngster in die Arena kam und alle begeisterte, sich dann unter deinem Sattel, Isabell, zu einem der besten Dressurpferde entwickelte und kehrte nun, glaube ich, kurz vor der Pension dann wieder zurück nach Salzburg und strahlte hier am heutigen Tag.
Ja, Pension haben wir noch nicht im Visier. Es ist wirklich, das muss man sagen, Chapeau für diese Stute, die Einstellung, das, was sie in den letzten 13 Jahren ist also von dreijährig, von Stutenschau, von Eliteschau bis junge Pferdetour, Bundeschampionat, Burgpokal, Louis d'Or bis hin zum Championat und Europameister und Weltcupsiegerin geworden. Diese Stute ist phänomenal, Olympiasiegerin auch nicht zu vergessen. Also die Stute ist wirklich außerordentlich, und in den Pausen machen wir ein paar Runden Trab und Galopp, und dann, wenn es dann so langsam in die Vorbereitung zum Turnier geht, dann geht der Schalter um. Der Schalter geht an, die weiß ganz genau, was passiert und was los ist, und ich glaube, wir sind wirklich ein bisschen wie ein altes Ehepaar schon. Und die Präzision, die Art und Weise, wie sie wirklich den Anforderungen des Grand Prix entspricht und diese erfüllt, Pirouetten, Piaffe Passage, Übergänge, alles das, macht sie in einer außerordentlich besonderen Art und Weise, und deshalb bin ich auch heute sehr, sehr stolz, dass sie auch nach einer gewissen Pause mit 81,5 oder 81,8 sogar hier nach Hause geht. Das war heute schon eine sehr, sehr schöne, präzise Runde, und ja, schauen wir mal, was passiert.
Herzlichen Dank, Gratulation, Isabell Werth.
Die Glückwünsche nun zunächst seitens der internationalen Jury durch die Chefrichterin bei C, Karina Wüst. Der große Pokal in diesem Grand Prix de Dressage, präsentiert von Neurosox, wird überbracht von unserem Gastgeber Josef Göllner. Die Siegerin mit Weihegold OLD, Isabell Werth. Auf dem zweiten Rang. Dort steht die 14-jährige TSF Dalera BB unter Jessica von Bredow-Werndl. Und heute auf Rang 3 die Farben Schwedens mit Delaunay OLD und Patrick Kittel, Sweden. Die Paradedecke präsentiert von Piqueur Eskadron. Und dieser FEI Dressage World Cup, wie gesagt, präsentiert von Neurosocks. Morgen geht es um die wertvollen Punkte für die laufende Weltcup-Wertung in dieser Corona-Saison. Gratulation, Isabell Werth, Weihegold OLD, den weiteren Platzierten. Und dann geht es los auf die große Ehrenrunde. Mit Weihegold OLD die Siegerin Isabell Werth. Weihegold OLD und Isabell Werth. Am morgigen Nachmittag präsentiert durch die Molkerei Megle dann die Grand Prix Kür FEI World Cup Dressage. Nun wird durch unser Amadeus Horse Indoors Team fleißig umgebaut, denn gegen 11:30 Uhr, also in gut 50 Minuten, dann die BEMA Group Trophy, eine internationale Springprüfung nach Fehlern und Zeit. Gegen 1:45 dann der iCup U25, präsentiert von Happy Horse. Dann der Casino Grand Prix, das Superfinale um 16 Uhr und um 18 Uhr das Championat von Salzburg. Also wenn Sie mögen, hier in der Salzburg Arena, kommen Sie vorbei, wenn Sie hier vor Ort sind. Oder natürlich im Livestream schalten Sie ein. Wir melden uns pünktlich zurück gegen 11:30 Uhr. Bis gleich im Stream.
und vor Kraft strotzt. Glücksmomente, für die sie alles tun. Glücksmomente, bei denen sie das Bremer Horset unterstützen kann. Es stimuliert wie eine beschränkte Durchblutung der kleinen Blutgefäße. Dadurch werden Stoffwechsel und Zellaktivität gefördert. Das unterstützt Regeneration, Entspannungs-, Erholungs- und Heilungsprozesse und ist eine wirksame Präventionsmaßnahme für Ihr Pferd. Darüber hinaus optimiert das Horset die Losgerissenheit für jedes Pferd, für jede Reitsportart. Die Behandlung nimmt nur wenige Minuten am Tag in Anspruch und ist sehr einfach. Unser Bremer Horset besteht aus einer größenverstellbaren, ergonomisch geformten Pferdedecke und 2 Gamaschen. Das intelligente Trio für jeden Fall im Stall. Die in Gamaschen und Pferdedecke integrierten Akkus und Signalcontroller ermöglichen eine kabellose Anwendung. Clevere Details ergänzen unser einmaliges Set. Sie werden begeistert sein. Führende Reitsportprofis sind es schon. Medizinisch unterstützt von Dr. Hermann Genner, empfohlen von PST, gleich eingesetzt von der Weltmeisterin der Springreiten Simone. Das Bremer Horset. Probieren Sie es aus. Für das Wohl Ihres Pferdes.
Sloopy lives in a very bad part of town. And everybody, yeah, tries to put my Sloopy down. Sloopy, I don't care what your daddy do. 'Cause you know, Sloopy girl, I'm in love with you. And so I say now, hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Yeah, 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 give it to you. Sloopy, let your head down, let it hang down